Hi, I'm Keshav Mongia. Welcome to The Line Between. Which of these shapes do you trust more? Which one feels more dangerous? You answered those questions instantly. You were given no context, no product, no name. But that shape did something to you that you probably weren't even aware of. And that's what this talk is about. We talk a lot about what we're told. We talk a lot less about what we're shown. Yet visual language is arguably one of the most powerful forms of communication humans have ever developed, precisely because it bypasses the part of the brain that checks for truth and goes straight to the part that feels. You may be asking how? How can a simple shape bypass your logic and speak straight to your gut? The answer is schemas. A schema is a mental framework, a shortcut your brain has built from every experience you've ever had. Every time you've walked into a new environment, every product you've touched, your brain has been filing all of it away, building a vast invisible library of associations which fires every time you interact with something new. You don't decide to consult it, it just fires. Daniel Kahneman identified this as System 1 thinking, the fast, automatic, unconscious brain that makes instant judgments before the rational brain even wakes up. Design speaks almost entirely to System 1. By the time System 2 wakes up, System 1 has already decided. He also identified something called cognitive ease. When something is visually familiar, the brain processes it more easily and associates it with truth and trust. And when something is visually unfamiliar, the brain flags it as potentially dangerous. That's why consistent visual language builds trust, and why breaking a schema feels wrong, even when nothing has factually changed. But here's the thing. Schemas don't all work on the same depth. Some are personal, built from your memories and your personal experiences, unique to you. Some are cultural, built from shared experiences, different depending where you grew up. And some are biological, older than language, older than culture, written into our nervous systems. Design speaks to all three. Take what sharp objects mean in nature. Claws, teeth. They mean danger. What about soft organic curves? Hills, flowers. They mean safety and life. Evolutionary psychologists argued we learnt this long before language even existed. It's coded into our nervous systems. Baby schema is a good example. Large eyes, rounded cheeks, soft proportions. They all trigger nurturing responses across humans and even across species. Brands have been utilizing this for years. Take the Mini or the Beetle. Round headlights read as eyes, soft curved bodies read as faces. You don't consciously notice, you just feel warmly towards them. Every decision made as a designer, every line, every curve, every shade, is a word in a language your audience doesn't know they're hearing, which runs from the surface of personal preference down to the oldest instincts in the human brain. But here's the problem with everything I've just said. It's not all hardwired. Take this color palette. Drop it into a Western area and it reads as sales, urgency, danger. Drop the same color palette into China or South Korea and reads as celebration, luck, festival tradition. The same cue, different feelings completely. Richard Nisbet carried out a study where he showed American and Japanese participants the same scene. The American participants typically remembered the fish, and the Japanese participants remembered the background, the relationships between things. Western design here is the individual, an individualistic view. East Asian design tends to cater to the whole, a collectivist view. Neither is right, but one has been exported globally as if it was the default human response. Both of these images are from Shanghai. You may have noticed something in your travels, if you've been traveling. If you walk through the historic older streets, the text, layouts, the colors, they all feel deeply specific to the culture's history. But as soon as you step into a newly developed commercial area, the local feeling disappears entirely. It's as if you're transported to London or New York, surrounded by the same sleek, minimal glass boxes you'd find there. Historically, in parts of East Asia, white would denounce mourning or funerals. Today, I guarantee if you walk into a showroom in Tokyo, no one will be thinking about death. They'll be thinking premium, luxury. Globalization didn't just export products. It exported Western schemas, flattening centuries of traditional cultural meaning into a universal, single aesthetic. Take the very phone in your pocket, the grids of apps, the swipe gesture, the notification system. Designed in California, now used by billions of people worldwide. The like button, the follow count, the public profile, all built on individualistic schemas of public identity and performance. Deeply Western psychological principles and concepts, now restructuring how people in collectivist cultures relate to each other, community, and their own sense of self-worth. This is a consequence of global schema export. No one sat in a room and decided to export a worldview. They just designed what they knew. But that's the invisible consequence of a profession that has rarely been asked to examine its own power. Every time a bank uses blue, the schema of security gets deeper. Every time a toy uses pink for girls and blue for boys, that association is carved a little deeper. The brain takes a repeated visual shortcut and mistakes it for the objective truth. And here's the thing about power. It doesn't need to announce itself. It just needs to feel normal. And that's where design becomes political. Because when a visual choice becomes that familiar, it begins to hide the mechanism that created it, and just the feeling remains. Take these two posters. Regardless of what they say or who they are, they're using the visual language of authority, certainty, and power through strong contrast, bold type, and a central figure just above eye level. These are schemas built across centuries of design, architecture, and propaganda. I'm not pointing at any party or movement, I'm pointing at the design grammar, which works regardless of who is using it to bypass intellect entirely and speak directly to System 1. Edward Bernays, considered the pioneer of modern public relations, said, "The most effective way to shape public behavior is not to appeal to reason, but to appeal to unconscious desire and association." And the people that use these symbols are the invisible governors. Designers are the invisible governors of visual culture. As I said before, we talk a lot about what we're told, but I think we should be focusing a lot more on what we're shown. Kahneman said, "A reliable way to make people believe in falsehoods is frequent repetition, because familiarity is not easily distinguished from truth." And that's what happens when visual language becomes so familiar, it stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like reality. It's the moment a constructed design decision turns into an invisible truth. I'm not here to say designers are villains. Most design decisions are made on instinct alone, never stopping to ask whose schemas those are or who they leave out. But awareness changes everything. Next time something makes you feel safe or suspicious, included or excluded, ask yourself, who made you feel that way? Why? What assumptions were made? And whose worldview is encoded into it? Because design is never just decoration. It is a conversation happening beneath the surface of everything you see. Thank you.